one Gurdwara who's always been very open, very welcoming to all the communities. And being over here, this really started with the late Sira, who was really one of the founders of this particular Gurdwara as well, and a person who was, I would say, one of the most softest, one of the most humble person I ever met. Very quietly spoken. We sadly lost him, and we would like to pray for him, for his soul, that may the Almighty bless his soul, give him peace and tranquility, and give strength and patience to his family to cope with the loss. He was a pillar of this particular community as well. I would now like to hand over to Harpreet, who will just give us, from the Sikh perspective, what pilgrimage means to that particular village.
Thanks, Mohammed. Very, very warm welcome to everyone, and apologies for my tardiness in terms of turning up late. The only claim I can make is traffic and parking. There you go. And I was expecting Indian timing, so you lot have done wonderful by turning up on time. So pilgrimage, and what pilgrimage to be, I guess, trying to interpret it from a Sikh faith perspective. So when I was younger, growing up, as you do, born and bred in the UK, most of our very important sites were in India. And you had this thought that, wow, wouldn't it be wonderful to go and visit some of the great temples of India, the Golden Temple being one of those. And I remember thinking that it would be great to travel there, great to pay my respect, and maybe feel something, maybe get some blessings by turning up at this wonderful sacred place. And I think a lot of us hold that in our minds, that pilgrimage is quite an important function. It allows us to connect with our sites of spiritual centres. It allows us to connect with history and where we've come from, which I think is quite important if you're born and bred in the UK. But actually, from a Sikh faith perspective, pilgrimage is all about travelling within. So you have this body, you have this mind, and within the mind is the truth. And from a Sikh faith perspective, when you look at the scriptures, they talk about connecting to God and finding oneness with God. But that starts with you as an individual, working on yourself, sitting down in your busy working day, finding a few moments of quiet, reflection, maybe meditation, reflecting on the scriptures, reading the scriptures. So from a Sikh faith perspective, it actually talks about this concept. It doesn't matter about carrying out external pilgrimages. You could do 1,000, maybe even 10,000. It doesn't matter if you don't change within, if you don't find compassion, if you don't find mercy, if you don't fight for justice, if you don't stand up for the truth. It's all meaningless. And actually, if you don't travel within, and if you don't work on yourself, there's a barrier between you and God and connection. And I was listening to a podcast this morning when I was doing something else, and the person was talking about this concept that when we actually reflect on ourselves, we're actually chasing stuff. We want to be happy, we want to be free from pain, we want to get the next car, the next job, the next house, and we're always chasing something down. And from that comes pain and suffering. But actually, if you take a pilgrimage within, if you try and find that centre of peace within, and from a Sikh faith perspective and from a scriptures perspective, we believe that the divine lives within each and every one of us. Doesn't matter your colour, doesn't matter your background, your faith. We've all got a spark of the divine within us. And if you look at it from that perspective, equality, treating everyone in the same way, everyone is a human being, we're all brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter where we come from, then all of the conflict, the pain and the suffering in this world, we can actually start to attack it in a positive, meaningful way. But yeah, I think, I don't never really like to talk too much, but I think, if we take a few moments and work within us, it's quite difficult. Sitting down and reflecting, letting your mind become quiet is very difficult. So recently, my son got me into watching YouTube shorts, okay? And each YouTube short is about, I think, 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And you get addicted to it, so you start scrolling. And I used to like reading. And I flipped across to a book that I was reading a while ago, and I really struggled to hold my attention to read that book, an activity I used to enjoy. So my brain had been rewired by watching YouTube shorts, and my attention span had gone down. So when you sit and you reflect and you meditate or you read scripture, it's very hard, it's very difficult. But anything of value or of meaning, in my very biased personal reflection point of view, you have to struggle to get the good, okay? And I'll just close it there and hand back to Mohammed.